And our next story, Richard's a bit of a dick. On February 20th, 2013, Rick Dick Head of Florida, Scott, summoned the media to the governor's mansion where he announced that he still opposed setting up a state exchange for health care, but now supported a 3-year Medicaid expansion. Scott said that a 3-year expansion would allow the state to then judge if it was working before deciding whether to reauthorize it. Scott said, "On the question of Medicaid expansion, there are no perfect options. To be clear, our options are either having Floridians pay to fund this program in other states while denying health care to our own citizens, or using federal funding to help some of the poorest in our state with Medicaid programs as we explore other health care reforms. While the federal government is committed to paying 100% of the cost of new people in Medicaid, I cannot, in good conscience, deny the uninsured access to health care." Yeah, like Governor Scott has a good conscience. At the time, Scott said his mother's recent death gave him new perspective and stated that, "As I wrestle with this decision, I thought about my mom's struggles raising 5 kids with very little money." Unsurprisingly, he lied. And he lied specifically to trick federal government into extending their payments for uninsured patients' visits to Florida emergency rooms. Scott conceded this week that it was all a ruse. Then he went on to say, he now says his support for Medicaid expansion was a calculated move designed to win support from the Obama administration for the state's proposal to hand over control of Medicaid to private insurance companies. Private insurance companies. What a dick. Do I even have to tell you that he's a member of the Republican Party? At the time, he denied that his support was tied to a deal with the federal government. And then he went like a cheesy, bald Bond villain. God, this guy's a piece of shit and should already be in prison. And I'll explain why. While Scott was CEO of Columbia HCA, the medical company did some pretty shady shit. In December 2000, the U.S. Justice Department announced that Columbia HCA agreed to pay $840 million in criminal fines, civil damages, and penalties. Among the revelations from the 2000 settlement, Columbia billed Medicare, Medicaid, and other federal programs for tests that were not necessary or had not been ordered by physicians. The company attached false diagnosis codes to patient records to increase reimbursement to the hospitals. The company illegally claimed non-reimbursable marketing and advertising costs as community education. Columbia billed the government for home health care visits for patients who did not qualify to receive them. The government settled a second series of similar claims with Columbia HCA in 2002 for an additional $881 million. The total of the two fines was $1.7 billion. During his 2010 race, Scott said, "I would have immediately stopped my company from committing fraud if only somebody had told me something was wrong." But there were such warnings in the company's annual public reports to stockholders, which Scott had to sign as president and CEO. So that makes it a little difficult to feign ignorance. Now that Scott succeeded in privatizing Medicaid, he's again railing against medical expansion and is suing the federal government for allegedly forcing it on him. What a douchebag.
But if you give me just one more chance, I swear I will never lie to you again. Because now I see the destructive power of a lie. They're stronger than truth. I can't believe I ever heard
Liar by Rollins Band.
I will never lie to you again. Please, just give me one more chance. I will never lie to you again. I swear. I will never tell a lie. I will never tell a lie. No. No. Sucker! Sucker! Oh, sucker! I am a liar! Yeah! I am a liar! Yeah! I like it! I feel good!
Arms for a leper!
Arms for leper!
Arms for an ex-leper!
Arms for a podcaster! If you like this show, please go to sovcast.tumblr.com. That's SOVCAST.tumblr.com and look for the donate button. It's right there at the top. I'll I'll just wait here while you go do that, okay? Hello?